Now, our next segment shows us what AI can bring to the customer experience with the aid of a company from the Microsoft for Startups program. Senior Business Development Manager Azrar Khan sits down with the Observe.AI team to learn more about how this technology can enhance and help define the customer voice. Let's take a look.
Welcome, everybody, to the Customer Experience Reimagined with AI session. Today, I'm super excited to have Observe.AI joining us. Observe.AI is part of the Microsoft for Startup program. And here we have Swapnil, who is co-founder and CEO of Observe.AI. We also have Pete Lee, who is the VP of Global Sales and Alliance at Observe. Then finally, we have Asher Khan, who is the Senior Business Development Manager at Microsoft. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Before we start, I first want to congratulate Observe.AI. I just recently read that you guys just closed $54 million in funding recently, and that is not just it. You guys currently up to date have $88 million funding raised so far in your Series B round. So kudos to you guys. That's super, super amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So to get started, let's have Asher kick off. Can you tell us a little bit about Microsoft for Startup program and
Absolutely.
what the benefits are for startups?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. So Microsoft for Startups is an exclusive program dedicated to helping seed to Series C enterprise-ready startups scale their companies. Really, we do this at a high level by providing companies access to technology, be it Azure, GitHub Enterprise, Office 365, Visual Studio, and a lot more, combined with access to customers via Microsoft sales and marketing engines, which really provide a streamlined path for startups to connect their innovative solution to enterprises all over the world. Now, depending on the journey of the startup, we actually have multiple tiers in our program, and one of our top tier is actually Pegasus. So the Pegasus program essentially is an exclusive invite-only program offered to highly curated set of startups, often backed by top-tier VCs and investors, just like Observe is. And the program combines with a range of benefits, all the way from exec sponsorship to tailored discounting, to customized GTM planning and access to sellers and distribution networks. And more importantly, preview or access to product groups for opportunities to co-develop and deeply integrate with Microsoft products or joint research. Really, at a very high level, it's about building with Microsoft, selling with Microsoft, and scaling with Microsoft. And again, like I said, Observe.AI is one of the startups that is part of Pegasus.
That's very useful for a startup. So Swapnil, can you tell us a little bit about Observe.AI and how you're paving the way call centers are operating globally using AI?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having us here. We have thoroughly enjoyed the Microsoft partnership. What Observe.AI does is it helps businesses understand and analyze the millions of conversations they're having in the call center. We use the power of AI, speech to text, and natural language understanding to understand what's happening on every single conversation. So you can get a true sense of voice of the customer. You can truly understand what your customers are saying, what they're happy about, what they're unhappy about. You can truly assess the performance of the agents, right? Up until now, businesses relied on manual QA teams analyzing 1% of the calls to understand agent performance and train the agents. We use the power of AI to analyze 100% of the calls so that we can provide data-driven coaching and training to the agents. And then finally, because we're able to analyze 100% of the calls, we allow a business to make sure they're compliant on every single call. That's the beauty of the platform. And on top of this, we have built workflows for contact center operators, managers, supervisors, quality managers to execute their job 10 times faster than what they're previously used to. That's where the platform comes in. We today work with more than 150 plus customers, where we have moved business metrics like customer satisfaction score. We have been able to drive AHT down for businesses by helping them understand why is the AHT so high. And at the same time, we've been able to enforce compliance in 100% of the cards. That's in a nutshell about Observe. We partnered with Microsoft about 18 months ago, and we have thoroughly enjoyed the partnership. As Asar mentioned, we are co-developing on the Azure marketplace. We're leveraging cognitive services, and now we are super excited to partner with them and bringing the power of AI in contact center to millions of users who use Microsoft day in and day out.
Thanks for sharing that. Pete, you're the VP of Global Sales and Alliance. How have you seen COVID impact the way call centers are operating right now, especially with working from home? And also, what role does Observe play in this process?
No, that's a great question. And, thanks to Microsoft and the digital transformation journey for a lot of customers, they've been moving towards the cloud. But with COVID, we're seeing two main trends. One is as agents are now working from home, it makes it much harder for them to maintain what is the biggest thing, which is quality to their end customers. Ultimately, the quality and experience of the agent is really the last line of defense on how a customer kind of has their brand represented. And so really our goal from Observe's perspective is by analyzing 100% of the calls and gathering AI with Microsoft Cognitive Services, we're then able to then maintain that quality, whether it's tracking, redaction, and private information, all the way to ensuring scripts are being followed, all the way to understanding the sentiment of the caller. As you know, again, people are very expressive when they're calling people and talking to agents. And if we can capture that over time, we ultimately improve the experience.
That's incredible. So in the lines of COVID, I know now that everything is online, customer experience is very important. Also with COVID, a lot of people have fear that, AI is coming and it's going to be taking over our jobs and whatnot. So for Observe AI, how do you tackle the human-centric approach to AI?
Yep, absolutely. I think there's a lot of fear in the market, as you pointed out, Ruth, around how AI is coming over and taking away our jobs. When anyone thinks about AI, they think that AI is coming and do what I as a human do. At Observe, we have a very strong philosophy around how AI will be used in the marketplace. We believe AI is here to help humans and not to replace their work. We believe AI will take over some of the tedious tasks that a human does today, which they do not really enjoy doing, and then help a human get better at doing more complex subjective tasks, right? So imagine a world where human plus AI coexist together, where the human is doing sort of the tedious and boring tasks while the human is able to focus more on the complex tasks, right? The way we do this in the contact center world is today, when you have QA supervisors who are like trying to figure out calls where there's bad sentiment, they have to go over and listen to like 5 calls, 10 calls to find out one call where the customer was shouting. With technology, now they don't have to spend so much time on finding that one call. They can just directly jump into that particular call and take actions on top of that, right? On top of that, we build workflows where, in previously they would have to copy paste data from different systems. With AI-driven workflows, they don't have to do that, right? So now you can streamline their full agent performance and training operation to help a human do a better job, right? Versus do what a human was doing before and replace their jobs. That's the key philosophy that we have around Observe and what will drive our next sort of product lines as well.
That's very great. So in terms of Microsoft, how is Microsoft enabling startups like you to work with them to help enterprise deliver better call center experience when it comes to customer service using AI?
I would say 3 key areas. Number 1 is core compute and storage. People don't realize speech computing is extremely compute intensive. It's to an order of like 10 times more than say text compute, right? So one is like leveraging the power that Azure Marketplace provides in terms of GPUs and TPUs and sort of like higher compute power. That's one key area. The second key area I would say is, I know at Observe, we also believe in this philosophy of we do not want to reinvent the wheel. So we want to make sure if we are getting into any AI solution like a speech to text or natural language understanding or natural language processing, we can leverage some of these services provided by Microsoft Cognitive Cloud. So we do not reinvent the wheel. And third, which I think we're extremely excited about, is working with Microsoft to bring Observe solution to Microsoft enterprise customer base, sort of like a coastal partnership together. So these are the three key areas we're super excited about. And I think as a startup, a large enterprise like Microsoft helping you is just great. I mean, you can go from 50 customers to 1,000 customers just with this partnership.
Thank you, Swapnil. I know we're coming to the close of this session. One thing I also want to highlight is that the solution that Observe has built is applicable across industry. And last week at our sales planning event, which is DTA, Digital Transformation Academy, we connected Observe with sellers across industry, and they're getting tremendous attention from our sales team and account team. Really, from our side in closing, I wanted to, this quote actually comes to my mind from Mark Twain, which is, to get something finished, you have to start somewhere. And the work that Observe.AI is doing in contact center space is just a starting point of massive transformation we're seeing in action. Back over to you, Ruth. Thank you.
Thanks, Esther. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining this session. And very much so, thank you, Pete and Swapnil, for joining us today. We really appreciate your presence. If you want to know more about Observe.AI, go to www.observe.ai to get more information about their company and their solution. Thank you and have a nice day.
Now let's hear from our friends over at Adobe.